Hi, welcome to Trezor Academy Session 3. My name is Josef and I'm part of Trezor Academy.
My name is Okin, or Nikolai Shongarero. I'm part of Easysats, and I also host Trezor Academy Namibia.
So in this session, we are going to cover the question of what are Bitcoiners to do. You have gone through the Trezor Academy either as a physical meetup or as these sessions, recorded sessions, and now we are gonna figure out what you can do with this knowledge.
So the first thing you want to think about is, what is your personal Bitcoin strategy? By that I mean, how do you plan on acquiring Bitcoin? How do you plan on storing your Bitcoin? All of the things that we just spoke about in the last two sessions. One of these methods to acquire Bitcoin is known as DCA. DCA stands for dollar cost averaging, right? Now, just to explain to you what this is a little bit, dollar cost averaging is where you purchase Bitcoin, in this sense, at an interval, let's say monthly, but you don't look at the price of Bitcoin. This would be something where you say, I will buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin every month, regardless of its price. I buy it on the second of every month because that's how I do my savings. So that's how a lot of people look at DCAing. They're seeing it as normally they save their money into their bank account every month on like the 10th. Now on the 10th, they're rather moving that into Bitcoin instead of their bank account. So this is how you DCA your way into Bitcoin.
Yeah, and a nice property of DCAing Bitcoin, saving Bitcoin, is you don't try to pinpoint the precise top or bottom, and you don't like chase, selling high, buying low. You're not trading Bitcoin. You're not speculating on the short-term price. You're just keeping a portion of your income in Bitcoin, no matter the price. And over the long terms, this has been a strategy that is the safest, that is basically the most resilient for you.
Correct. And again, you remember that when you DCA, as Joseph just said, you're not thinking about the price. You're literally just thinking about, oh, I'm still able to get Bitcoin at the time that I want to get it, and then I move that Bitcoin over. So now, I am one of the people that truly believe, and I do believe Joseph is too, that you should spend and replace your Bitcoin. Why should you spend your Bitcoin? As we spoke about in session 2 with the circular economies, this is how we ensure that people are willing to accept Bitcoin because you are spending it. And if they know somebody's going to spend it at their establishment, they are more likely to accept Bitcoin, allowing you to spend yours and them to gain. Now, when you spend your Bitcoin, of course, you have less Bitcoin, which is something that most people don't want. So what you would want to do is to replace. Whatever you spend, make sure that you have a way to replace that Bitcoin holdings of yours so that you don't actually fall lower than you were previously.
Yeah, and if you, for example, learn about financial literacy, you might come into contact with a term called positive cash flow, which is how you should handle your finance. Because if you have like a deficit in your finance, unless you are a government, that's unsustainable for you, and you will need to pay those debts. So you need to have a positive cash flow. And with Bitcoin, you just need to switch to positive sats flow, meaning you should use Bitcoin, yes, if it makes sense for you, or if you want to support the local Bitcoin circular economy, but you should replace those sats so that you have either a neutral or positive sats flow. Yeah, and just don't stress about spending your Bitcoin. Just make sure you have more inflows than outflows, basically.
As somebody that always spends his Bitcoin, don't worry, you will make it back, but you have to actively work on that. You have to make sure you have a way to replace your Bitcoin. Now, there's a lot of places that you as a Bitcoiner can go for more information. Yes, Trezor Academy sessions are great, but we can also only be there with you for so long, or that amount of time. So we do advise that, as you see on the slide, you look through the podcasts, news and blogs, the YouTube videos, and of course the books and additional learning. These sites, all of them have been built, the shows on the podcast, all of this is built around bringing you more information, and almost every single time, all of these resources will be able to give you that information for free. So again, this is another place where you don't have to go and spend to be able to attain information on how you can properly save, store, and use Bitcoin.
Yeah, as I always like to say, Bitcoin education is free, or you have to pay its attention, but you definitely need to pay that price, your attention. And understanding Bitcoin is a sort of a rabbit hole. We like that term a lot as Bitcoiners. And this program, Trezor Academy, we can only take you so far. I hope we have ignited your interest in Bitcoin, but then, as we also say, DYOR, do your own research and go down the rabbit hole, because there's a lot of facets to Bitcoin. You can research like Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin adoption across the world, the history of money. Books like Broken Money by Lynn Alden is very good for that. But you can really sink like hundreds of hours into understanding Bitcoin. It will make you a better person, I believe. But if you choose to, you need to go down the rabbit hole and always try to understand more and more, and you will want to.
Yeah, you'll want to. As you said, we call it a rabbit hole, not a rabbit ladder. There's no way back up. Once you fall, you keep falling down. So there are other ways. As you saw, you just joined a structured program known as Trezor Academy. There are other ones known as like Btrust Builders, which is more geared towards people looking to build products, looking to build out software, looking to make sure that they have an impact on this Bitcoin world from their standpoint moving forward. Instead of just gaining info, they would also like to be able to add to that info and to the tools that are out there.
Yeah, I really like this program, Btrust Builders, because it's made by Africans for Africans to help them maybe get a job in the Bitcoin space, to get the skills they need. And also that it's not just in English, it's also in French. So the French-speaking Africa can leverage this program as well.
And you have to remember, Btrust Builders has a thought of, as Joseph just said, by Africans for Africans, but it's also to tell Africans, you could be a Bitcoin core contributor. You could be the person that creates the next Blink wallet that everybody's using throughout Africa right now. So it's to say, you don't need to go outside of Africa to be able to even attain this knowledge on how to be able to build these things. There are structured programs like Btrust Builders that you can join that will guide you through the process till the end of that. In addition, we have other countries and other initiatives like Bitcoin DADA from Kenya, which has also expanded to more than just Kenya. They're now in, I think, 5 or 6 other African countries, where it is financial literacy for women. And then built upon that is also then Bitcoin financial literacy. You have the African Bitcoiners. They, besides just the education that they do, they also are the people that put out the infograph for the African adoption in Africa for Bitcoin. So there are all these type of things and resources at your fingertips that not only can you utilize, but you can contact these people and say, hey, I would like to add value to this project. I would like to maybe run this project in my country. How could we go about that? So that is where that conversation starts. And now that you have this amount of knowledge that you've gained till now, you should be well equipped enough to start on that next journey.
Yes. Just maybe be cautious. There are a lot of people around the world that are trying to take advantage of people getting interested in Bitcoin. So it's always a good idea to start with these trustworthy resources and projects like Btrust Builders, Bitcoin DADA, African Bitcoiners. And if you are unsure maybe about someone offering you some type of cooperation, go ask. Go ask these Bitcoiners that have been around in the African ecosystem for many years now, and they can usually tell whether like some project or some person offering you something is legit or not.
That is correct, Joseph. That is correct. Always, and again, do your own research. Always do your own research. Even if people are telling you this is a good idea, go and find out, right? Research the people. Now, for those of you like myself that wanted to find out, and we just mentioned one as Btrust Builders, how do we contribute to Bitcoin? How do we go about making a positive change or adding our voice? So one such initiative is known as Exonomia, where what they do is they literally translate the Bitcoin white paper into different native African languages, making sure that people don't only understand Bitcoin from an English speaker's perspective, but even that you could take this knowledge to somebody that could be maybe sitting at a village, could be sitting in a small township. And because it is in their language, they are more likely to understand what you mean by the verbiage of things like decentralization and all of that. Now, we do have more reading resources, but these reading resources are also ones where you can contribute to. Bitcoin Magazine, for instance, is one where you can go to and you can read about different things happening around the world with Bitcoin. Yet you can also be a contributor, where you can be one of the authors to the stories going into the Bitcoin magazine.
Yes, yes. You can check out like the opinion section of the website, and there's a way to contact the editor. Yeah, so if you have a good hand at writing and expressing your opinions, it's a good idea to not be afraid. Try to pitch the article, the text to the editor, and at the very worst, you will get some valuable feedback.
Correct. I mean, most of the time people will tell you how you can improve instead of just saying no outright. Another great resource for this is Stacker News. I myself have posted many times on Stacker News, but more regarding an experiment. Will Bitcoiners pay me in Bitcoin for posting my poems on Stacker News? They did. So yes, you can do that. Satoshi's Journal is also another great resource where you have stories from what we call plebs, Bitcoiners that are not very well known, aren't very wealthy, but are people that are driving in their communities or in their families or circles, that Bitcoin adoption gets that next step and moves forward. So in Satoshi's Journal, they actually even do, if I remember correctly, allow people to, first-time writers, tell their Bitcoin story. What got you into Bitcoin? And from that, then you can move up to something like Stacker News and then go to Bitcoin Magazine. So even just with the same way that you progress along Bitcoin wallets, you can progress around how you contribute to Bitcoin, even just from a writer's perspective. And of course, what you can do is create clips. Fountain is one of the greatest podcasting apps that I've ever used. And I don't just say that because they pay you in Bitcoin as the artist, but there was a point in time, and it still does happen every now and then, that Fountain will make an announcement that they will pay the listeners. That's correct. From time to time, Fountain actually pays you for listening to your favorite podcast on their platform, and then you can use that Bitcoin that they pay you to either stack or to pay for your podcaster that you enjoy listening to so they can continue creating that material. So this is the type of things that Fountain and other platforms are starting to look at in how you can contribute, but also be contributed to.
Yes, and Fountain also has this very interesting feature where you can listen to a show, clip like an interesting segment out of it, like 30 seconds, for example, where it's like there's something interesting going on. You can post it on the Fountain app yourself, and maybe share to that, point to that little clip with some comment, and you will earn the sats if somebody chooses to like zap you the sats for this specific clip.
Correct. And what you want to do with those is also, after you share them on Fountain, make sure you share them on all your other social media apps, because the more people that have eyes on it that get there and actually click and listen through, Fountain is more likely to pay you out for those.
Yeah.
Then, for you designers out there, those of you who might not be writers, those of you that might not be coders, those of you that don't want to be programmers, but you have an eye for design, Bitcoiners always need new designs. And luckily enough for you, there's Design Bitcoin for everyone. This is a place where people have come together, different designers, to put together resources that you can use in your apps, in your printouts, but also where you as a designer can contribute so that other people can utilize your creations.
Yeah, so you can check it out, Bitcoin Design Community at bitcoin.design. There's even a lot of like interesting resources to learn from, and a lot of guidelines how to design like a Bitcoin app. Doesn't have to be wallets, can be other apps as well, in a very user-friendly way.
That's a really great resource. Now, a place that I visit almost every week is this one place, Bitcoiner Jobs. So with Bitcoiner Jobs, what you do is, like any other job searching platform, you upload your CV, you look at who's offering jobs, and you apply. The beauty of this website, though, is almost 80% of the jobs on here are remote. So you can do them from anywhere in the world. A good amount of them, I'd say almost half, are part-time. So you can do something else in your free time while you contribute to this, and you get paid in Bitcoin. This is also a way, and again, you don't have to start at the highest paying job, but as you slowly but surely do smaller jobs, one here at a company, you start building a Bitcoin repertoire in your resume that other Bitcoin companies will say, oh, okay, this person is actually geared to want to make a difference. Let's look at hiring them, even though they might not have all of the requirements, but what they've already achieved in other companies, we would then see that person as an asset. So Bitcoiner Jobs is really a good place to just visit once a day, once a week, just see what's out there, see what skills you're lacking or already have, and you can apply. So please do.
Yeah, and what's beautiful about this site and like what it represents is previously, maybe if you were living in Africa, you could potentially apply for a job in the US. But the way how you would get paid would be really troublesome. Like to wire dollars from the US to Namibia, Mozambique, I don't know, DRC, places like that. I don't think it would even be possible. But with Bitcoin, you can work for like a Bitcoin job and get paid in Bitcoin immediately. It can be maybe even every day.
That is correct. That is correct. There's a lot of being, as Joseph just said, getting wires internationally into Namibia. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of hoops you have to jump through just to even prove that this money is supposed to come to you legally. Whereas even with Bitcoin, you immediately get paid. Put out your Bitcoin, whether it's on Lightning or on-chain. That, of course, depends on the timing, but you will follow that payment if it's on-chain, and you will receive it at instantaneous settlement if it's on Lightning. So another way that I truly believe a lot of you should get involved is start with, if you're on X or Twitter, I never call it X, but that might be the first time I ever called it that. But if you're on Twitter, please start a Twitter space. Join another Twitter space with Bitcoiners that are hosting. See what the conversation is like. And then see in your own neighborhood, in your own community, is there a need for this type of a voice? Which there always is. More voices are always good. So try and add your voice to the conversation by hosting your own spaces, talking to people and seeing what is their feedback on what you're doing. This allows you to build communities with other Bitcoiners by even having them on as co-hosts, ones that you might only know from Twitter, but you've been in their space and you say, could you help me co-host mine just so I can maybe get better? And most Bitcoiners, I have never met one to say, no, I don't want to help you co-host your space.
Yeah. So, and interact with other Bitcoiners across Africa. Bitcoiners Africa or African Bitcoiners are the best like catalyst for that. Or the other programs you mentioned like Bitcoin DADA. So it's good for you to maybe put yourself on the map a little bit through, spaces, can be just tweeting out, just sharing your thoughts on Bitcoin in Africa. And it will work.
It will naturally grow.
Yeah. All right, we're at the end of Trezor Academy sessions. I hope and we hope that you have enjoyed this. Please follow us on Twitter with Trezor Academy. Just Trezor Academy on Twitter. You can ask any questions. I will reply, or Okin, or other many other people across Africa and around the world. We will share all the resources that need to be shared in the notes to this video.
Correct.
And I guess that's it.
Yeah, and all we can say is thank you for your time, thank you for your attention, for paying your attention, and go out there and help another person understand why Bitcoin.
Thank you very much.